What is up, guys? It is Joe. We are back. We're talking ball about the Cats, and in today's video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about K-State basketball recruiting in the class of 2025. We've got a big-name visitor coming to Manhattan this weekend for both the football game and the checkout campus, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. We've talked about him in the past, but I do want to outline him with some highlights, some background, and some stuff going into this recruiting cycle. But before I do, let me tell you this. If you like the channel, be sure and hit that subscribe button. It takes a second, and it helps me out immensely. I'm also getting a tattoo with 3,000 subs with the Cat script tattoo, so you don't want to miss out on that front. But talking about our guy Cam Ward, he is a 4-star player on the 247 Sports Index. He's been in previous videos. We've talked about him a couple times as K-State continues their hot streak in recruiting in the class of 2025. Our guy Cam Ward is a big deal. He just had an update actually as of yesterday, I believe, or today. There was an update across a couple of different services, and Cam Ward currently checks in as a 4-star prospect, the 43rd ranked player in the country, the 14th ranked power forward in his class, and the number 2 player in the state of Maryland. Now, if you're not familiar, K-State's had a lot of success with dudes in the DMV area the last couple seasons, obviously namely Doug McDaniels, the big one to come through the transfer portal from Michigan, and there's a lot of good dudes in that area on this team that can kind of sell the idea of, hey, I grew up where you're at. Let's come to Kansas State. Let's talk about this together, show you the behind the scenes of what it looks like making a jump from Maryland to Kansas. Now, as I talk a little bit more in depth about Cam Ward, he did toss up some comments about Kansas State and other schools that he is visiting. I'll read you those comments here in a sec, but for now, I'm going to toss up some highlights. It's from the 2024 EYBL circuit with Team Durant, and the quick thing that comes to my mind, and I'll talk about this in a sec, the man has a lot of Naquan Tomlin in his game. And it's not to say that he's in this perfect shadow image of what Naquan Tomlin was at Kansas State or vice versa, but the dude has his own style and his own flair to it. But the first things that jump out are, okay, he's a long, athletic kid. He's currently 6'7", 210 pounds. I don't think he's all that done growing, to be perfectly honest with you. It wouldn't surprise me that by the time he's on campus at K-State, he's 6'8", 6'9", getting even bigger and closer to that stature. He's played power forward, but obviously he talked about in his recruitment about improving his 3-ball, shooting some shots from outside, and it takes time in the gym. Very Naquan Tomlin-esque. That's the best way to say that. But when you see things like this big dude running down the court in transition, Euro-stepping dudes left and right, grabbing rebounds, pushing the pace, doing things like that, that is a perfect quintessential Jerome Tang player. A guy that runs out in transition, can post up, make the right plays in the low block, but also fits into the 5-out offense, the type of dude Cam Ward is. And I got to tell you personally, I am insanely high on this kid. This is a dude that is, I don't want to say he's been overlooked because he's not. There's a lot of big players in the recruitment, but Kansas State prioritizing Cam Ward is a big deal. He would fit perfectly in Manhattan, to say the least. Now, he's cut down his list to a top, I think, 10 teams remaining, unless I'm mistaken. The last teams he's had, he's coming off a Virginia official visit. He took trips to Notre Dame, Marquette, Vanderbilt, and Florida State. And the last 4 visits he has are Michigan State, Alabama, Maryland, and Kansas State. He talked about each recruitment process and what he expects from the visits and what he's seen in the visits with Jamie Shaw from On3 and discussed Kansas State saying this. Now, Cam Ward talked about it and said, on my visit, I want to learn more about their play style and more about the area of campus. I also want to look at the academic side of things for them. I'm looking forward to talking to the players, asking them things like, how is it playing for Coach Tang? And how is your relationship with the coaches? I want to know how the coaches are. On this visit, they can be all smiles and cheese, but I want to ask the players what it's like when things get rough. See if they like being in Manhattan. See if they like being there. Now, the quick reaction to that, that's a big deal, the way this kid's looking at this process. It's not as simple as every program's great, I love every program, and giving you no insight. This is a kid that's genuinely considering the process, considering academics, considering the recruitment, the campus, the people. You want to know the behind the scenes. So first things first, hats off to the kid because he seems like a mature individual and he's ready for college basketball. Obviously, on the court is a big thing, but when you have the maturity off the court and you have the know-all to be a successful college basketball player, that bodes well for where he's at. So quick shout-out to Cam Ward in that front. But I want to talk specifically about the academic thing and then the campus thing. First of all, there's not a more beautiful campus in the nation than Kansas State. That's just the way it is. The man's going to get there, get on campus, see the beautiful limestone building, the open campus layout, walk around, see the students, pumped to see him. And that's something I'll talk about here in a few minutes. But once you walk into the Bill Snyder Family Stadium, especially in this case for Cam Ward, and you see the students wabashing, you see the chance of, hey, we want Cam Ward, we want these dudes to come here, there is something that moves down deep inside. Like, it's not as simple to say that no other programs will chant for the kid, no other programs will celebrate, but you walk into the Bill and you see fans freaking out in a packed 55,000-plus stadium, screaming, yelling, cheering for their team, and then also hitting the Wabash, which is one of the best things to watch in college football. It's a pretty big deal. I feel like kids really understand that, and the genuinity comes through. So there's my quick thoughts on the campus, but the academic side is something I wanted to touch on. It's one thing for a university to have successful academic programs. It's another thing for the university's programs to be committed to academics. Now that sounds pretty vague, let me explain. There are some things that this staff at Kansas State has that other programs don't, and no matter how much hard work or effort or discipline goes into it, you can't force it. Jerome Tang and this staff, there's a lot of dudes on the staff that were raised by educators, raised by, professors, by people who are coaching, teaching, professing, whatever the case is. A lot of people that grew up to that system of, hey, you got to prioritize academics. I mean, Coach Tang was a high school coach for the longest time at Heritage Christian, and you get a lot of dudes that spent their time saying, hey, academics are what gets you to the next level. Don't let that be the reason that holds you back. There's a lot of teams in his cut-down list that have, hey, we got good athletics, we got good academics, blah, blah, blah. Kansas State has all those and more, but the idea is you can't force your background. You can't change where you came from. You can't change your folks' profession. There's a lot of dudes on staff that were raised by educators, and that's a big deal. I mean, it comes through in these visits. It comes through when you talk to the parents and you prioritize, hey, it's not as simple as just, I go to Kansas State to play basketball, we'll figure out the class side. So it's something to say there that I just wanted to mention, like, these visits are great with parents and great with the kids. If you want to be an academic dude, not saying the kid has to major in mechanical engineering or something crazy, but the idea is that the opportunity is there for whatever you want, and you'll have the support to do that at Kansas State. It's similar to how you look at religion with the coaching staff. It's not something you can force. This stuff doesn't just, magically happen. Don't talk about it, be about it. It's what Kansas State does on a national basis, on an everyday basis. Coach Tang talks about it. Hey, it's the same boring, unsexy habits that get you to where you want to go. You have to be spending your time in the gym. You have to allocate resources to academics, to team building, to team bonding. There are so many different elements of the game that are removed from basketball that this kid already has figured out, but it is that next step. Long story short, that's the idea side with academics. Like Coach Tang and the guys, they're themselves, man. They're not trying to be somebody they're not. They're always going to be themselves. And whether that's a good thing or bad thing in the eyes of prospects, it's got to be refreshing to see that kind of, honesty and maturity. These guys aren't here to screw you over, vice versa. They're not trying to trick you to come into Kansas State. They're trying to find the guys that want to be Wildcats and play in front of the best fans in the nation. That's the case. So with Cam Ward, I am excited about this visit. I think it's going to be a great time. And he's coming to one of the best football games this season for Kansas State. Two incredible quarterbacks under center, and Avery Johnson and Noah Fafita going at it late night in the Bill. This game is going to have some aura. Now, to finish this up, this is another thing that I should mention for K-State, because once again, the family aspect is what matters. For all these kids, man, family is such an important, integral core value for a lot of these kids. It's the same reason that family is in the name of Bill Snyder Family Stadium. K-State family is the biggest thing, man. That's the name of the Facebook group. That's the name on the sides of the buildings. Like, family is such a prioritized thing at Kansas State that other programs don't have that aspect. In this recruitment process talk with Jamie Shaw, he talked about it saying, 1, having a family aspect is big for me. 2, having a developmental plan for me that is going to be consistent. I don't want to show up and then just be on my own. I want tough love and tough coaching. So those two things, and then, of course, a degree. That's beautiful. That's a thing you want to see. It's a kid that's not afraid of the tough coaching. He's not afraid of coaches being honest. Like, when you love somebody, and Coach Tang's talked about it, the greatest form of love and appreciation for somebody is discipline. Cam Ward is ready for that type of coaching. And the degree thing. So many dudes enter college basketball and aren't saying, hey, I'm ready for a degree. They're saying, I'm ready for a one and done, get me out here to the next level. Cam Ward has the opportunity to go to Kansas State, get an incredible degree. It's like the one I have right there. Obviously, whatever the case is, I'm in journalism, he might be something else. But the idea is he has an opportunity to go to a beautiful university with coaches that love and challenge you daily, the best of you. It's the same reason you see the coaching staff finish a basketball game last season, and the first thing out of Coach Tang's mouth in the press conference is, hey, I want to congratulate Naquan Tomlin being the first one in his family to graduate from college. He walked across the stage, and we're so proud of him. Those are the things that you see, man. It's not, man, big win, thanks for the crowd, thanks for this. It's accountability for your guys. It's loving your guys, cherishing them, but also demanding the best out of them. It doesn't always happen, and that stuff is rare. Don't let anybody tell you different. This staff is rare. They're a rare breed. And the last thing he said on this, I want a degree that's going to help me outside of basketball. My mom is big on the academic side. She keeps telling me that she's not going to let me go somewhere that does not have academics. I'd like to do something in sports management or sports business. Also, from one sports guy to another, sports journalism, vastly different, but I'm still stoked to hear that, man. So shout out to you. I'd like to do something in sports management or sports business. I was actually looking at sports medicine recently, but some schools recruiting me told me how biology and sciences might not line up with playing athletics, but some of the schools say it'll line up. But I want to do something with sports. Man, don't let anybody tell you what it's going to do. If you're committed to it, it's going to work out. Regardless of where you go, if you are passionate enough, if you have your head on the straight and narrow and you're ready to go for this, you can do this stuff. It's why you see some guys on the football team majoring in chemical engineering. Like, I can tell you this, I've loved my time at Kansas State. I think the academic side was incredible. Obviously, it's different as a student athlete. You're going to have to prioritize differently, but there's a lot of successful dudes that play athletics at Kansas State and go to the next level. Whether it's, hey, go to the NBA, go to the NFL. One example of this, my girlfriend's in PA school up here, and something we're really proud of. It's similar to like a nurse practitionership or physician's assistant or kind of a doctor route in its own way, but it's additional schooling. One of the main linebackers for Kansas State, Austin Moore, is saying, hey, I got my degree, I got my master's degree, I want to go to PA school. But obviously, the NFL comes first. I have to make sure I'm taking the time for my next career. That being said, whether it's I retired, 3 years into my career or 15 years into my career, I'm going to take the time to go to PA school because that's what I love to do. Those are the things you see at Kansas State. So Cam Ward, we're excited to have you on campus. For all of you going to the game, whether it's basketball, football, whatever the case is, go say what's up to the kid. You know the drill. Businesses, pack it out. Signs saying, welcome home, Cam Ward. This is an awesome opportunity to get a great young man and his family on campus, and we have a great opportunity to make a lasting impact on him. He did outline saying, hey, I want to commit in November. If it doesn't happen in November, it'll happen December. So this one could wrap up here soon. But guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Go Cats!